having played with him, do you think he would be willing to sort of return potentially to Villa Park at some point? And actually, would he be the perfect sort of striker to pair with Watkins potentially?
Yeah, I mean, he was outstanding when I was there. I think he's got everything to be a top striker. He's went obviously over to Roma, done really well. He had a bad injury, which kept him out for a kind of long period of time. I think he would like to come back. Well, look, I'm just talking about football-wise. Being in the Premier League, being close to, obviously being home, playing in the Champions League. I think that's something that would really kind of get him going. The only flip side to that is he happy over there? Does he like living that lifestyle over in Rome? I presume he probably does as well. But him going to Aston Villa, I think, makes that squad better. I always said that I feel that Ollie Watkins needs a partner, needs somebody to help him. There's going to be times where he might not hit top form and he'll need somebody to come in and help him out. So him knowing the club, Abraham, I think that could be a good way for him to come back.
And Juve are understood to be, talking of Italian teams, ready to potentially offer 2 players in a part swap deal for Douglas Luiz. Does that sort of interest you potentially, Alan? If they offered you, say, Weston McKennie and Samuel Illing Jr. for Douglas Luiz, would you accept that? Or do you think that the quality of Douglas Luiz is it's too much to say trade player like for like, if that makes sense?
Well, Illing Jr. I think he's a good winger. I mean, he's a really good player. You can see technically very gifted. He likes running at people. He can make things happen. So I do understand that. McKennie, I'm not sure about. I mean, there's been a lot of hype for a number of years surrounding him, and whenever I've seen him, I'll admit I've not seen him regularly, but it's not been standout. And I'm looking for a guy, Douglas Luiz, who's one of the main men. He's one of the main reasons they are where they're at. So if Juventus want to come in for him and they're going to pay 50+ million, no problem, that's fine, because that's money that's going to come into the club, and then you can go and decide who you want to buy. But when it's this, or we'll give you 2 players, these are 2 players that Juve don't really want. So it doesn't really add up for me. So you're getting one of the best players from Aston Villa who are playing in the Champions League next year, and Villa are going to get 2 players that you just want rid of. It just doesn't really add up for me.
And if Juve are interested, and say the likes of, Liverpool, Arsenal, City as well have been named as some clubs that are interested too, could this then become a bidding war at Villa Park? Could you see over the next few weeks sort of offers come in for Douglas Luiz potentially?
Well, that's what they want. I mean, they want the highest value possible. Me personally, I want to see him stay. I want to see him with a team getting built round about him again, pushing for Champions League top 4. It's going to be incredibly hard next year. I mean, it's not going to be easy to do this again. So you need a top quality squad, and he's part of that. As I said again, he's one of the main reasons Villa are where they are. I get it if a huge fee comes in, 60 million, and there's a bidding war and it goes to a rival, right? Okay, you can kind of understand that. As long as your recruitment and Monchi's on it and you can get somebody in to replace him, then fine. But you want the highest value possible.
And Villa have been linked with a move actually from Matteo Guendouzi this summer. We know Emery got the best out of him at Arsenal. Would that interest you? And if Douglas Luiz is to go, would he be the perfect replacement potentially?
Well, I don't know about perfect replacement. I mean, he can be a bit of a hothead at times, can't he? I don't know if he's settled down since he was last in England. But again, a good player. I can't sit here and say that I watch him week in, week out, and I know absolutely everything about him. I know he's a decent enough player. Is he going to come in and replicate everything that Douglas Luiz done? No, I don't think so. But again, if you're looking to bolster your squad and make it stronger, because you are going to need it on a long season, especially with European football, then of course, then that's fine. But I'm not sure about him coming in and being that guy to replace Douglas Luiz.
And Villa are one of a number of Premier League clubs who are interested in signing German wonder kid Assan Ouedraogo for about £12 million from Roma. Sorry, from Schalke, different club. With Newcastle and Manchester United also interested, do you think that sort of pull potentially, Alan, with Champions League, with Villa, is going to help them, say, get over the line in a deal like this potentially?
I think it always helps, to be quite honest. Look, as a player, you would want to wait as long as possible, especially if there's other teams that are looking at you, because you want to assess all your options and then pick the best one. I mean, I can only say that from situations that I've been in. you don't want to jump right away and then something maybe a month down the line or 2 weeks down the line could have been better. So you're going to wait and see. If you've got a club there that's a Champions League club that finished top 4 last season, you're going to want to be part of that under a really good manager, a young team that's working to become even better. Then that's something that you'd want to be part of. So again, I get the players would want to wait, but yeah, Villa I think would be a huge draw.
And actually, a big surprise, really. We've spoken a lot about Jack Grealish already this season and what his future might look like. And we saw him left out of that England squad for the Euros. Do you think that could potentially sort of, he wants to look at saving his international career, could potentially sort of lead it to you can see where the ignition's going now, ends up going to Villa. Could you see that happening, Alan? Can you see him potentially going to Villa Park?
I would love to see it happen. I mean, I'd love to see him back there and helping Aston Villa compete at the top end of the Premier League and in trophies and different things. Do I think will happen this summer? No, I don't. If I'm totally honest, I think he's still got unfinished business, should we say it. Man City want to get back in and be a regular starter. They're one of the best club teams in the world, so it's going to be hard. I mean, you're going to have to be playing at the top of your ability, but he'll know and he'll feel that he can do that. And if that happens, then he's back in the England squad. I still think I don't think it's a great decision from England to leave him out, because I think he is different from everything that they've got, especially in certain games if you have to use him off the bench or whatever. But he'll be hurting. I know him well, so he'll be hurting from it, but he'll want to prove everybody wrong.
Jose said, I prefer not to speak, and I'll move on swiftly with that as well, because Villa have been linked with a move for Spurs midfielder Lo Celso, who we've discussed in his future. What would he bring to the squad, Alan, if he was to join Villa? And actually, what sort of fee do you think Spurs would be looking for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to remember, well, he's worked under the manager before at Villarreal, so and he done well on his loan there. So the manager will feel that he knows he can get the best out of him. Where he fits in, is he going to be a midfielder? Is he going to play higher up? I think he is quite versatile. He can play in a number of positions. Again, he's probably a guy who's looking for a home and wants to play regular football. Me personally, at this moment in time, I don't think he'll play every single week in, week out, but I feel probably the manager will still be able to get the best out of him. In terms of fee, I mean, 15-ish million. I mean, it's a difficult one. Again, we're talking about guys that don't play regular game time. But if the manager wants him and sees him as a target that's going to make him better, he'll be willing to pay that sort of money. But yeah, I just don't see him coming in as a starter week in, week out.
And to sort of wrap up on Villa, we know, Alan, it's been suggested that, they're likely to still have to sell players before the end of June to sort of balance that PSR FFP problem they're facing. How concerned are you about that? And out of all the stars there, the starting 11, who would you like to go that you think you could replace, e.g., say, a Jacob Ramsey, someone like that, Diego Carlos?
Yeah, there's probably a couple of fringe players that you're looking at the squad that could possibly move on. The big one is Ramsey. Look,